What is up, everybody? It's your boy Monkey from Monkey's Treehouse here, taking you through your CDL Class A 7-part brake test. This is the first thing that you're going to be doing the day of your CDL Class A road test on the tractor trailer. Basically, what's going to happen is the inspector will walk up to us at this point. He will ask you for your license and your permit. You will give to him. We will hand you the keys, say good luck, and we will walk away. At this point, the inspector will ask you a series of questions, and then followed by having you take a seat inside the vehicle, which he will join you shortly afterwards. Now, at this point, what is happening is he is entering your license number into his computer, and this will generate your random series of test brackets for that day. Now, you might be saying, Monk, what do you mean by test brackets? What I mean by that is that every day the test protocols or the areas of inspection are randomly generated by the computer. This is done so we are not able to get a lock on just what they're going to ask you. They want you to know all areas of inspection so you can safely and efficiently operate your vehicle. Now, while I do not disagree with them that there are certain safety aspects you should know while operating an 18-wheeler, I do agree that there are a lot of areas of this inspection that are quite extensive in the area of you are not a mechanic, you are a driver. You will not be the one who is performing mechanical repairs on this vehicle, although the whole point behind this is for you to identify any mechanical issues that may pose a problem. A small problem now to prevent a bigger problem later. Broken leaf spring, leaking fluids, bubbles in tires, cracked rims, etc., etc. Like I said, this will prevent a bigger problem down the road. They just want to confirm that you will not just jump behind the wheel of this vehicle, having noticed some of these issues, and proceed down the road, potentially killing yourself or somebody else. Once again, the whole point behind this entire inspection and road test itself is safety. That is the number one focus. That is the number one goal. You being safe, hence being safe out there. So getting back to your 7-part brake test, we're going to start off when he tells you to have a seat inside the vehicle. You'll come in, put your seatbelt on. He will join you shortly inside after putting your license number in, and you're going to do what is called a safe start or a static start brake test just to confirm that your air tanks are full. You're going to go ahead and start the vehicle up, and you're going to be looking for any movement on the primary and secondary air gauges. That is any movement at all on the needles to show that the tanks are not full, or for listening for the governor sounding off, letting you know your tanks are full. If after 5 or 10 seconds or so you have not heard any governor sound off or seen any movement on either of the needles, you can then shut it off, turn the key one click over to the right to accessory position, at which point you'll be able to begin your 7-part brake test. At this point, after you've turned the key one click to the right to accessory, your needles will track back and forth and then reset. Once they reset, you can begin by putting your foot on the brake pedal itself gently, and at which point you're going to hold it there for 60 seconds, counting out loud for the inspector while you're looking at the primary and the secondary air gauges. You're doing this to look for any kind of pressure loss exceeding more than 3 to 4 psi, at which the end of the 60 seconds you will take your foot off the brake so the little sound of air release can be heard, and inform the inspector you have not lost more than 3 to 4 psi. You have no air leak. Number 2 of the 7-part brake test, low pressure warning test. At this point, you will begin to pump the brakes down from their full position at 120 down to 60 psi, at which point your lights and your alarm should illuminate, letting you know that in fact your low pressure warning system is working. Once you pump the brake down to 60 psi, you will see the lights and alarm come on, letting the inspector know, yes, my low pressure warning indicators are working. Number 3 of the 7-part brake test. Now it is time for your spring brake test. Very important here. This is where most guys mess up and forget that the crucial part of this test is to push in both of the parking valves. That is your tractor and trailer brake. Push them both in before beginning this test. Once the valves are in, you will begin to pump the brakes down again to 30 psi, at which point both brake valves will pop out, indicating that yes, your spring brakes are working. Now it is time to refill your tanks. At this point, your tanks will be empty once your spring brakes have triggered. While this is not an official numbered part of the brake test, it is necessary to be done. So 4, 5, 6, and 7 can be completed. At this point, one of 3 things can happen. 1, the inspector can tell you to put your foot on the gas, holding it there at 1500 RPM until the governor sounds off, letting us know our tanks are completely full. Or he can have you conduct your in-cab inspection at this point while the tanks are slowly rebuilding on their own. If option number 3 happens where the inspector says nothing, or tells you I cannot tell you what to do at this point, then it is up to you as the driver, as the CDL trained professional, to conduct the rest of your inspection as you see fit. You can either quick charge the tanks by pulling your foot onto the gas at 1500 RPM until the governor recharges, or you can conduct your in-cab inspection while the tanks slowly rebuild on their own. As we're seeing in the video above, we have elected to quick charge our tanks by holding it there at 1500 RPM until the tanks are fully recharged at 125, at which point our governor will sound off, letting us know that our tanks are full and we can proceed with number 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the brake test. Very important here, do not be fooled. Once the tanks reach 60 psi and the low pressure warning alarm has shut off, your tanks are not full yet. Keep them down, keep the gas down until they have recharged fully at 125 psi, at which point you will hear the governor sound off. Now that the tanks are recharged, we're coming to the fourth part of our 7-part brake test, and that is to test the parking brake of the tractor. We do this by releasing the opposite brake that we are testing. So if we are testing the parking brake, we're going to release the trailer brake only. Push the trailer brake in, and for the stick vehicle, put the vehicle into first gear with a light release on the clutch, taking your foot off the brake pedal. Of course, we are only testing the parking brake at this time. Remove your foot off the brake pedal, bring the clutch up slightly till you feel a pull, and then put the clutch right back down, letting the inspector know, yes, my parking brakes are working. Moving on to number 5 of the 7-part brake test. Now we're going to switch to our trailer brake only. Take off the parking brake and initialize the trailer brake, and repeat the same process as before. Put it into first gear, take your foot off the brake, and then with a slight release on the clutch, feel the pull on the clutch, and then put it right back down, letting the inspector know that yes, my trailer brakes are working, vehicle did not move. Coming up to number 6 on the 7-part brake test, testing the trolley brake, aka the handbrake. There's a little dispute about this. People call it handbrake, parking valve, parking lever. It is a trolley brake by official terminology. And how we test this is very simple. We're going to release both parking valves again, just like we're doing number 3, like we're doing the spring brake test. Release both parking valves and put down the trolley brake, and then repeat the same process as before. Put it into first gear with a slight release on the clutch. Let the vehicle pull a little bit, put the clutch right back down again, letting the inspector know that the trolley brake is working, vehicle did not move. Now number 7 and the final part of the 7-part brake test. Once the trolley brake is released, you're simply going to put the vehicle into first gear and let the vehicle roll for 5 seconds. We are testing the service brake, aka the brake pedal. Once you let the vehicle roll for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put the clutch down and the brake down, letting the inspector know the vehicle stopped and the service brake is working. Thus will conclude your 7-part brake test. At this point, the first part of your road test is completed, the 7-part brake test is done, and at this point you would simply resecure the vehicle and wait for your next instruction. You'll most likely be moved to the next phase of the road test, phase 2, which will be inspections. The inspector will let you know what areas of the vehicle to inspect, and as always, whatever areas he does tell you, if you do exit the vehicle and shut it down, make sure to take the key with you, as leaving it in the ignition is an automatic failure. Well, I hope you found this video informative, and as always, good luck on your road test. Hopefully you pass. We do need good drivers out there on the road. If you found this video helpful, please give a like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to check back to the channel often for additional videos uploaded for the inspection areas of the road test, as well as other helpful videos I'm going to upload for tips and tricks to help you along your career. Thank you for stopping by. This is Monkey from Monkey's Treehouse, and have a great day.